is Teresa and welcome back to another vlog. Today you are sitting in my kitchen. This is my second vlog for Trick or Treat-a-thon. I forgot to do an outro for my first vlog, and quite frankly, I was not feeling like trying to wrap up that vlog. But today is Sunday. I haven't started a new book since I left off. I was thinking about the Uncensored Dorian Gray, but then I figured I might as well just download Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark for my short story one, and then get that one done, because that'll probably be a quicker read. And if I somehow finish it before I get Swordcatcher on Tuesday night, then I'll start Dorian Gray. Granted, I can read two books simultaneously with Dorian Gray and the Swordcatcher, so really it doesn't really matter, but in my heart of hearts it does. I have the apartment to myself, which wasn't the plan. My sister was supposed to be here with me, but she is hanging out with a friend. I am at home by myself making some adobo for when my boyfriend and my sister come home. Boyfriend's at work, and then sister again hanging out with a friend. Enjoy the b-roll of me probably cooking and editing my vlog from last week to before I finally decide on what I'm going to read. I should charge my Kindle actually before I can start reading, so I'll start that and then I will do the cooking.
Soft, but I bet you got flames on the side of your car. How you walk?
I haven't started reading Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. In fact, I went to download it and let this be a scary story to tell in the dark. Just borrow the book, because now I have a hold on the book that did not have a hold a week ago. And even the second book has a hold on it. So I can't even read the second book. Just borrow the book. If this is your sign. If you're like, oh yeah, there's no hold on it, I can just borrow the book. Just borrow the book. Just do it. It is now Monday. The book still hasn't come from the hold. So I'm just gonna start reading Uncensored Dorian Gray. However, I will be receiving Swordcatcher tomorrow afternoon, night-ish, which means this vlog, since I have read Dorian Gray quite a lot. I've read this book quite a lot. You guys have seen me talk about my thoughts on this book quite a lot throughout the years of this channel. So unless something super dramatic happens in the book that is different from the originally published book, I'll be focusing most of my attention toward Swordcatcher, just because it's a new book. I always vlog the Cassie Clare books. I always do a review on the Cassie Clare books, so therefore it'll become that. But I will be popping in every now and again for the rest of the vlog with just little updates here and there about this guy. And that's basically the update I've had. I haven't had much of an update, really. The plan was to edit and then read, but then it's a whole thing. I can't even get into it without getting frustrated. But now I'm probably just gonna eat Nutella and watch How I Met Your Mother for the rest of the night and play some Good Pizza, Great Pizza, just to make myself feel better about life. Cause yeah. But I'll catch up with you guys when I get the book. It is Tuesday. Pardon the crazy hair. I don't know. Don't ask. We'll never know. But I have the baby. This one. No. This one. I got the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. I've already put my bookmark in here, so if it pops out, the bookmark did not come with the book. But look at it. It's so shiny. I'm concerned because I'm thinking of the math of like the larger name versus the smaller title. Like this should be flipped. But I was not the one who made the cover. It's super shiny. I'm just going to give you guys a little I'm going to start reading in a little bit. I have to do my thumbnail first. But look at the covers, the back with the little, what do you call them? The cameos, or the silhouettes, and then the invertedness. There's nothing super fancy on the inside, like on the cover though. It's just yellow and red and then just the Swordcatcher. The inside cover though is like pretty. It has like the map and everything. I shall return once I've started reading the book, but first I gotta edit a thumbnail and make sure my vlog is all set and ready to go up come tomorrow. This is a thick boy. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to read this in a week. Ooh, thick boy. 604 pages! I guess my boyfriend, when he went to go pick it up, it wasn't on display, so either it had run out or they just hadn't put it on display yet. Someone in the back had to go get it, but I will start reading in a little bit. And for those of you who are asking, this is not like a sticker that's stuck to the book or like, you know, like into the cover. It's like you can remove it, so I'll be removing it in a little bit. Ooh, I found the special content. It's a poster.
Oh?
I'm assuming Kel. Look at that. And then on the opposite end, it is, what's her name? Oh lord, how do I only know Kel? To be fair, Kel is a very similar name, very easy name. Lynn, that's also a very simple name to know. But Lynn's on the other side. So at least now I know how they look, and I can't complain that I completely imagined them incorrectly, because there is a literal image pasted into the cover of the book. I'm gonna go work on my thumbnail, eat some Nutella, and then I'll start reading. I also tried to read Dorian Gray at lunch today outside. I was like, I'm gonna enjoy my break in the outdoors and enjoy it. I got through maybe like the forward. No, it doesn't sound right no matter what way you try to do. I got through it, and then the wind picked up and I got cold. So.
Lost. According to somebody, you just roaming the block. Roaming the block. Soft. But I bet you got bones in your closet. Pull up and make a deposit. Pull up and pull up and pull up and pull up and stop. Ayy. Yeah.
Heidi ho, it is now Thursday. I haven't had a chance to really read the book. I'm only like on chapter 5 or so, but I just got done filming. I filmed 2 TikToks and 1 YouTube video. Very short, which is very unheard of for me, but I'm gonna take it because less editing time. So hopefully the plan tonight is to put on Pretty Little Liars and really like get into the nitty-gritty of the book. I want to make a serious dent in it and then go back to prepping, because I'm planning on participating in NaNoWriMo, and this month is Preptober, and it is now October 12th as I'm filming this, and I haven't even planned the first chapter yet. So the plan before the end of the month is to at least get to chapter 10 of prepping so I can write at least up to chapter 10 in November. Maybe plan as I write going that way. But yes, I'm gonna go take a shower now because it's like almost, I think, 8 o'clock. Yeah, it's only 7:15, JK. But it's 7:15. I didn't get home until 6, and then I had to film and do all the thing, and I just want to be in pajamas and reading. So enjoy the B-roll or my update, whichever one happens first. I've been reading for like maybe 2 hours now, 3 hours, I can't tell. I am almost 200 pages into this book, and I don't feel like I've made a dent. I am 170 pages in. I need to know who Cassie Clare's, where she takes her like writing classes, or like who her editor is, because this is a lot of words. And I like a good tome as much as the next person. Well, this is a lot of words. I think this, like, 170 pages alone is, like, NaNoWriMo length. And it's just a lot of words. I think I'm getting an understanding of the world situation there. So, basically, back in the... I'll give y'all... This is going to be a spoiler-filled vlog, by the way. But, I'll give y'all the short, sweet, and dirty of it. I don't know the actual saying. This book takes place in a magical world that no longer really has magic. During the Sundering, as they like to call it in the history books, is when the last bit of magic was actually removed from the world. I don't know what caused the Sundering, I don't remember. Again, a lot of words. Lots of things to process. Where magic was taken away from everyone except for a certain group of people called the Ashkar, and they can access magic, little bits of magic, which then in turn makes people hate them / be jealous of them because they are the only ones with access to the magic that everyone once loves. So because of this, they are given different sets of laws and different sets of rules for them to follow, And Lynn is one of the Ashkar. She is a healer. And so far we're kind of learning about her backstory. We're learning she has a younger brother named Josit. And Josit is now a merchant who is consistently traveling and rarely home. And she is trying to heal her childhood friend, Mari or Miriam. But Mary, who has been ill since childhood and is now only getting worse. However, she does not have the capabilities to access the tomes that she needs to be able to potentially heal her because of the fact that she is Ashkar. Now our main boy, our boyo here, is Kel, whose name is also Kellyan lengthwise, I don't know. His full name is Kellyan. He is an orphan that has been adopted by the castle, the royalty of Castlane, and to act as kind of like a body double for Prince Connor because they look similar, and he is called the Sword Catcher. And when he grows up, if he did a good job at it, you know, Prince is still alive to become the king, he becomes like the king's blade, which is the king's right-hand man, his guardian, the leader of the soldiers. I forget the exact title. Again, a lot of words. Now, so far Connor is of age. I think they're about 21 right now. There was like a kind of like a semi-sex scene in here, which is how you know that it is a adult book. Because not a lot of YA books really talk about in depth about a breast or the concerns that the person with the breast is feeling a wrapped hand. Connor is the prince. He's set to become the king, but he has to get married first. So the concerns are all around Connor finding a marriage match and him just not wanting to do that. We have an aspect called the Ragpicker King, who is kind of like the underground kind of ruler slash like mafia boss kind of situation here, who has asked Connor to help him figure out who this other person is, this other kind of like up and coming person, who the Ragpicker King is pretty much focused on the idea that it's being backed by some nobility, because dude rose to power, like something Beck, P. Beck, something like that. I'll remember it eventually. That he is being backed by a nobility, so he wants Kel to like look into it and be like, just dip in here for me. Kel has a crush on Antonetta, who is a nobility who used to be a super like guy's girl, gets dirty, and all of them super intelligent and clever, and then she turned 15 and all of a sudden she has to be like this coquettish, really shy, really idiotic girl to get a love match, and Kel is like, why? And she's like, shut up. And the current king is being tucked away like some King George situation from Bridgerton, because he is slowly losing his mind due to madness, and Connor is concerned that he will also lose his mind because it's hereditary. And then Connor, in a drunken state, told Kel that he has made some very, very bad mistakes, and Kel has no idea what they mean. That's it. I'm out of breath. Oh, there's also a weird poison going around, because one of the guards got poisoned by one of his lovers is the assumption, but they can't seem to find the antidote for it. And I need to get rid of the sticker with the blow dryer, but I forgot to do that yesterday. I'll do that tomorrow. That is it. I don't think I'm even past the like synopsis of the book. I'm just in the build-up to the synopsis of the book, almost 200 pages in. So I'm gonna call it a night there. I think I'll read more probably tomorrow night. I'm hoping, Lord be willing, to get to 300 pages, or wherever the chapter is that ends around 300 pages tomorrow night. Will I get any sleep tomorrow night? I don't know, because this is but still 300 pages is about like halfway through the book. So again, Lord be willing, God's almighty, from every pantheon be willing, I get to 300 pages-ish tomorrow night. But now I'm just going to spend the rest of my night, before I go to bed, because I still have to work, trying to do some Preptober stuff, because that's where I'm at. Also, update on Dorian. I have not read past the first 5 pages. So that is an undertaking I will work on throughout probably the rest of the month. I don't even know. It's like implied that Kel has a thing for Antonetta, but can't because the mom made it clear that Antonetta can't be with him because he's not the prince. And then, but then also he has a crush on like Scylla, who's a courtesan, who was the said breast. So I don't know. I'm just very confused. It's also implied that Connor is bi, I think, because there wasn't mention of like his preference for girls, but then when they mentioned a dude, Connor was like, so I don't know. I don't know. I'm just gonna try to keep reading, and maybe by the time I reach 300 pages, I will be understanding and pass the synopsis. But so far, it's just a lot of setup for the synopsis, and my brain hurts, and I need to go lay down. Heidi ho, it is Saturday in the afternoon. I didn't get a chance to read as much as I thought I was going to last night. Last night it was actually a double date. My boyfriend and his best friend and her boyfriend and I went to like zombie paintball night. Then we went to the scary corn maze, and then after we had dinner, and then by then I was a sangria that was like a cup this big, like a wine glass this big, like this deep, and an entire like mini bottle of Prosecco to myself. And then when we got home, I took a shower and I fell asleep. But I have been reading in and out throughout the day. Jake and I did go to like grocery shopping and like just running around for a little bit. We still have to go actual grocery shopping later this evening, but I am going to spend the rest of the afternoon reading, and then I'll probably take breaks here and there to plan for Preptober, and also like look at planners. I'm chatting about it with my friend Sam right now, but I'm realizing that as an adult and after suffering from burnout, I have to aggressively separate everything like that I enjoy versus the things that are like more functional and that are for like adulting and career and all the things. I will set up my bullet journal, but I'm struggling to actually like reach for it throughout the weeks because it's so intertwined with like life and work and all the things that it's just not fun. So I think starting 2024, I'm gonna just switch over to a like full-on like pre-made planner with everything pre-made and don't have to worry about it. And then I'll use that and then have my bullet journal for like scrapbooking, which I love doing, and like talking about the books I'm gonna read, so I have notes to transfer into my Notion to make into a full-on review, like stuff that I used to do with my bullet journal back in the day when it was like still like new and fun. And then also before burnout, when I had like put like my essay ideas in there, when I had put video ideas in there, when I had done all of my story ideas, my poetry ideas, and then also turn it into like a journal and like do weekly spreads with like short bursts of journaling in here. That's the plan for it. I don't know what I'm gonna do for the rest of the year. I think that's the plan. Look up journals, plan for prep more for the book for NaNoWriMo, and read Dorian Gray. Then tonight it will be me reading The Swordcatcher and trying to make a huge dent in this dude. Like I am about 200, almost 200 pages in. So my plan is to hopefully get to about 300 or 400 pages through, which will be about, oh geez Louisa. It's just gonna be about, oh gosh. I'm gonna mark it here. This is 402. Okay, so about here, which looks like a lot, which is like a good chunk of the book. But that's the plan, is to get through this huge chunk of the book, and then maybe I can finish the book tomorrow or Monday. But right now, I'm trying to find a movie to put in the background. I'm heating up my leftover dinner from yesterday, which is a burger and fries, and then I think while the movie's going and I'm eating dinner, I will be working on Preptober. It is now Sunday, and I fear that this vlog might have to be longer than my weekly vlogs because I made a mistake. I shouldn't have chosen Swordcatcher to be a book that I read at night, because now I can only read it at night. I'm bending the rules a little bit. I'm reading it right now before I start editing a video, just because I want to get to like the 300 page mark. I meant to get to 400 last night. I stayed up super late and I only got to 2, and then I got to like where the synopsis ends, and that was like around the 240 mark, 250 mark. And then I got incredibly frustrated because I was like, I have read 240-ish pages, 250 pages, only to just now pass the synopsis of the book. And I get it. It's a new high fantasy. It's the age category is adult, and adult high fantasies are notorious for being very slow, for being very much building up in the first chunk. I'm very aware of that. Very aware of it. At like midnight, when you just get past the synopsis and you feel like you've been reading for hours and like you've watched at least like a good 6 or so, maybe more than 6, I can't do math, episodes of How I Met Your Mother in the background with the dim light of your book light is going off and you're trying not to blind your boyfriend as he's trying to sleep, it's a little disheartening. Not to say that I'm not enjoying it, but it is, I think, my issue at the moment right now is that it's just a lot of like world building, which isn't bad because I love me some good world building, but I am also a fan of world building that gets integrated in with the plot, not so much chunks of world building as we go along in order for us to get to a point where we have like an understanding of the world and then you can move on into the plot. It's just a lot of information and I'm not even sure I understand it all. So I just got the past where the attempted assassination attempt happened because someone had confused Kel for Connor, and Connor's like big secret was that he owes money to Prosper Beck, who is like the person that is running up against the Ragpicker King in the book. The Ragpicker King doesn't like this because he's like, he rose to power way too quickly. It takes a while to get to power. I think he's being backed by like one of the politicians, a noble, something. So that's why he asked Kel. And then Prosper Beck's men think that Kel was Connor and tried to poison him because I guess what Prosper Beck did was that Connor has some debt, a lot of debt, like student loan debt. And what Prosper Beck did was he started buying those coffers from other people. So now Connor is in debt to Prosper Beck, which is going to be a problem and a scandal for the throne, which is where the meat of the plot happens. So I am very interested still. I do like this world building. I like the world. It's very lush. It's very like descriptive. I always just have issues. Like when people give me maps, I look at maps and I try to really truly understand it. I do. Like I try to be like, okay, so that's where that is. That's where this is. But like if I don't see roads or dots lining things up, like lines putting things together for me, I can't picture how far anything is. I can't. I don't know if it's just because I am terrified of directions and I need those lines to tell me where things are, but I just can't. So aside from that, I just am struggling to picture the world and like what it exactly looks like. Is it more like European based? Because like I looked at the author's note and it says here that Castellane is Occitan, a Romance language spoken in the southern of France. So yeah, European. The language of Sarthe is Venetian, a language related to Italian. Malagasy and Ashkari are invented languages. The Malagasy language was designed by Nicholas M. Campy, and the Ashkar common language was designed by Matthew Abdul Haq Nami. There are a few purely Hebrew words that are used in the high language of Ashkar: Sadhirin, Shomrin, and Malbushim. Many of the titles of the books, so it's like there's some basis in it, but I just need to like, I'm trying to like figure out how the layout of the world looks, and that's kind of where I'm struggling right now. Because like Cassie's built, you know, she designed the Shadowhunters to be set in New York. She designed some of it to be set in London and like these bigger cities you can physically go visit and that you can see where the inspiration comes from. Even Idris, like Alicante, the city is from, I believe, Spain. So it's not like you don't have these ideas already placed in your head, but this doesn't seem to. It describes the interior really well, which I enjoy, but I am struggling with the exterior of what the world looks like and how it shapes. Because right now I'm imagining almost like Italian style exteriors where like the roads are very narrow. It's very quick to become like crowded in an area. I'm also imagining kind of like BBC's Musketeers era of France, like what is that, the 1800s, 1700s, something, where again it's very crowded, lots of uneven path, but cobblestone, you can hear every footstep, but again it is very quick to become crowded in certain areas and become packed. And that's kind of the vibe I'm getting, but again, I don't know if it's just me and I'm like reading this at night where I'm kind of delirious. But that's kind of the vibe that I'm seeing and I'm feeling from it. I just wish it was described more. But I like the characters. I really am enjoying Kel's kind of struggle of feeling indebted to this family, but then also wanting bits of his freedom. Like, he realizes he's never really had a room of his own. He's always had to share with Connor because he is the sword catcher. And then Lynn's struggle with wanting to become this master physician and being looked down upon because she is a woman, and not being able to study more medicine and more information because not only is she a woman, she's also Ashkar, and the Ashkar are looked down upon in society for being able to retain some magic. Then there's the lore with the gods and how Lady Adasa was the one who removed the magic from everyone but the Ashkar. So it's just a lot of like different layers here and there, and even the Rag Picker King seems to have more layers, as he seems to be a very morally great character in the sense that everyone sees him as one way, but then the people who know him internally, like within his organization, are like, he's just a very like straightforward and honest kind of dude. If he tells you he's gonna kill you, you're gonna die. If he tells you you're gonna protect, he's gonna protect you. You're gonna be fine for however long, he says. And to them, to me as well, it makes him a pretty like interesting character in of itself. So I'm very interested to see where this goes, because I do think Kel is going to end up deferring. I stayed up really late. Going to the Rag Picker King side, because he wants to not only protect Connor, but then he realizes that the life he's lived isn't much of a life at the moment. It's still he won't be able to really truly live his life until Connor takes the throne, and then even then he'll become just the main, like he'll become like again the King's Blade, so he won't really have much of a life. So I think this will be an interesting kind of pairing. Same with Lynn, but again, it's just a lot. I'm gonna read a little bit longer. I was hoping to get to 300, but I kind of want to edit a video before we go live today, and I'm hoping to check off one of the boxes because my hold for Scary Stories in the Dark came out the other day, so I'm going to go ahead and read that during the live, and then probably sneak this in somewhere. We'll see. Or Dorian Gray. I don't know anymore. I don't know what I'm reading. I don't know what's happening. Okay, so it is still Sunday. Had a lot of things to do, so I got a video editing done. Realized I did not film a video thumbnail. It's fine. Then the live stream. I did finish a prompt because this is still also part of Trick or Treat-a-thon. And that was the prompt for The Simpsons, which is read a short story, and I read the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark books. I am kind of disappointed by that one. I give that one a 3. I think because I always forget which one is the one that scared me the most as a kid, and I think it might have been the second one, the one with the guy who with the guy who like dances with a girl who finds out he's dead all along, the weird spider pimple, all those ones that were there. It was not in the first one. I think it's in the second one, but I completed that one. And then now the plan, I'm a good chunk of the way through Dorian Gray, so I think I'm gonna have to extend this vlog out a little bit, at least until I finish Swordcatcher. I am about 285-ish pages, so I'm just gonna read until bedtime, and hopefully I'll reach the 400 page mark by then. I don't know if I will, because that's my goal, is 400 pages. Don't know if this will happen, but it's fine. I'll be fine. It is now Monday night. I am a good chunk of the way through the book, actually. Not a very bad chunk. I'm not at 400 pages. I'm at 350, so I'm halfway to my goal for Saturday. So tonight is just gonna be a read until my eyes start burning kind of night. I will say there is a weird potential love triangle, love square, but it seems like it's leaning toward a triangle. It seems like Lynn and Kel have very platonic feelings for each other. They kiss, but it wasn't romantic. It was just so Lynn wasn't seen by another Ashkar. Then we have Kel, who likes Antonetta, but she doesn't seem to like him. But then likes Marin, which we stand a bisexual king. But then Marin seems to like him, but then said that he can't like him because Kel is too like free with like sacrificing his life, and that's just not something that Marin can get on board with. And it seems like Antonetta likes Kel and Kel likes Antonetta, but Antonetta has to hide it because her mom wants her to marry Prince Connor, and I think Lynn and Connor are gonna have a romance. There's like some enemies to lovers situation there, but no one's really interacting enough for me to understand the potential platonic and non-platonic relationships occurring in this book. So it's been a time, and it's also been a struggle for me to really like get my head wrapped around the characters and their personalities, because they don't interact. And how I learn how, you know, personalities are is how characters interact with one another. I think that's my biggest thing, that there's not a lot of interaction, and I'm over halfway through the book. So I'm just like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what to feel. But I'm gonna read until my eyes burn. And hopefully I'll get to a good chunk of the book and be almost done with the book, and then go from there.
Cause nobody can do you the way that you do, the way that you move, you know that it's true. Nobody can match confidence you exude, nothing to prove, you're just doing you. You be living life like it's a walk in a park, and you got it all done right from the start. Pics on the gram, you be looking the part. Look at the numbers, you top in the charts. You got me tripping, be hitting restart. Soft.
But I bet you got friends on the side of the car, how you walk. Got me thinking you know you the shit, though you would never talk about it. Maybe we could talk about it, yeah. Lost. According to some.
Okay, let's go, Glee. I am now way past the 400 page mark. I am at 444, 45. It's picking up. It only took 400 pages, but it's picking up. We're seeing, I definitely do think that Connor and Lynn are going to have a little something, but then my guesses with Kel's romances went to shit, because he was like, even though he knows nothing will come of it, because he's realizes that he's looking for something he doesn't know yet, and I'm like, okay, well, that killed that idea. But the plot's moving a little faster now. We're seeing other pieces come into place, like people wanting to blow things up to piss off other nobles. We're seeing secret alliances that have fallen apart in a matter of minutes. It's very interesting. So now that we're here, going a lot faster now that we're here. I'd like y'all to realize that how far I am when the plot started picking up. I hate adult fantasies for this reason, but I love adult fantasies for this reason. It's fine. Now you're just nodding at the camera whatever I say.
Well, you're the professional.
So now we're seeing some like twists and turns, mainly in Kel's side, who's getting a little desperate to protect Connor, and now receives like like the equivalent of an astrology reading for the day from someone who's been imprisoned. Saying that he'll betray Connor, and that Connor will hate him so much for it, he'll want him dead. So I have about roughly 200 pages left. I think I can finish it tonight. But I'll keep you guys posted and updated on what is going to happen next. I would like to see more of Lynn's character, but something tells me that we'll probably see her more in the second book, which will probably feature her more. I think this book is a little bit more Kel focused, just because of what's the title of the book. His title in the court is the title of the book. But I also would like to see Kel kind of struggle a little bit more with like what he wants to do in life versus what he's been trained and basically brought up to do for life. So yes, but I have a feeling we'll probably see that push more toward like the climax of the book. So where that is, I do not know, because I have 200 pages left, so the climax has to happen at some point. I'll keep you guys posted with what I find out. Page 479, and they kissed. Connor and Lynn kissed. I called it. Granted, I think it was kind of obvious, but I called it. My eyes are burning. It's still Monday. Ooh. Monday night, but my eyes are burning, which means I finished the book. I will say though, I don't know what rating to give it just yet. I think I'm going to sleep on it, and then when I wrap this vlog up tomorrow afternoon when I get home, then I will discuss the book in more detail, or at least my rating in more detail. But once I reach like the 400-ish page, I say ish because I don't remember if it starts picking up around the 300 mark, like toward the 300 mark, or if it just like really started picking up really quickly around the 400. So I'm gonna say 400-ish. Around the 400-ish pages, it really picked up. Like, it really picked up. I had a really hard time putting the book down. I think by 400 pages, once it picked up really quickly and I got to see the characters' motives and how they think and plan things as things go along, and like see them really face the consequences of their actions, or really start to understand the things at play for them, I found myself realistically really understanding the characters. Not even so much that they were interacting with each other, though those moments were very sweet, and I really did enjoy the moments between Lynn and Connor and Kel and Antonetta. But that aside, shipping aside, I think that once it picked up and we got to see more of the characters and how they react to certain situations and how they view certain things, I definitely got a bigger sense of who they were as a character and their personalities and everything in between. So I was definitely very like focused on the book and the plot as it continued moving. I definitely really enjoyed seeing the relationships unfold between Connor and Kel, and Connor going off on his own, not telling Kel a thing, and then Kel realizing that he needs to have that right to do the same things as well. Same thing between Connor and Lynn, where they kind of have this animosity and they don't really understand why they feel this way for each other, but they're not sure if it's animosity or full-on like attraction. And seeing Lynn really start to form this idea of the goddess in her head and who she wants to be as an Ashkar. It was such a good book. I really just enjoyed it, and I think my biggest qualm with this, which is partially why I'm really torn on the rating. Like, typically when I close the book, I'm like, oh my god, it's a 5-star reader. I'm like, oh my god, it's a 4. Is that the pacing, like, obviously the pacing is traditional to like the age category of an adult high fantasy. There's nothing surprising about the pacing and how long it took to really get there. Like, I believe Game of Thrones is one of like the first introductions I had to like adult high fantasy, and that took forever. Like, we didn't see things really pick up until about the time that Ned Stark died. Got his head chopped off, and that's an entire whole ass book. But I do think that while the build-up was kind of frustrating at times, mainly because, again, I'm very big on characters. I love getting to really know the characters right off the bat. Or not right off the bat, but as the book progresses. But I felt like up until the point that we had reached, or I had reached in like almost more than halfway through the book, there was like a kind of an emotional wall from the characters that I really had a hard time figuring out any motivations, any clear cut. Like, I could not, like, from the beginning to point on, I could not really tell you why the motivation seems so, like, it seemed very one-dimensional. But as like we get to like toward the end of the book, when things start picking up, which I can see why people might not really vibe with this, because it is a very true high fantasy thing. But once things pick up and you get to see, again, the characters really react to things, is when I got to see a lot more of the characters, and I feel like that emotional distance between the reader and the characters really dropped, and you got to see more emotional vulnerability from the characters. But again, I can see where people will probably not like this book, because again, it is very true to like high fantasy, like true adult high fantasy. I wouldn't say it's like Tolkien high fantasy, where like they turned left and then they realized they got lost, or like George R.R. Martin's 5th book, Dance with Dragons, where Tyrion is literally like, he was on a boat and then the boat got caught in a storm. He's still on the boat, but the boat's now in a storm, you know? But it is still very true fantasy, where a lot of it is set up. A lot of it is building the world and building the stakes, and then building the characters, which like again, you can see I struggled. This book took me a lot longer than it should have to read through, because I have read books like this in a week. But I definitely do think that if you aren't like really into the true high fantasy of like having to build up a world, then the history, then the magic system, then the stakes that come with it, then the characters, I think that's probably where you might not like this book very much. It was very slow paced because again, it was building up a lot of like the backstory of the world, the backstory of the characters, the lore, the mystery, the intrigue, and just trying to build up these different layers and different forms of pressure for the characters. But once things do kind of like hit the breaking point for them is when things really start to pick up and the characters feel more well-rounded, the plot starts to connect to each other a little better. Her introduction to adult fantasy, while it felt a little clunky, I definitely do think it's a very strong introduction to adult fantasy. We got to see a lot of Cassandra Clare strong suits, which we've seen in the Shadowhunters, which is like a beautifully lush backdrop of a world, and the lore and the magic system that she puts a lot of care and time into like figuring out, and like you can almost kind of see Cassandra Clare going through the motions of like figuring out the Rubik's Cube of this own world as you're running through it with her. But I definitely do think that once everything comes together, it comes together. It definitely becomes a very like strongly written, wonderful book with characters that have a lot to go off of. I think that's why they felt so emotionally distant, was because we're getting to learn them at their very base level. It's not like the Shadowhunters where we understand the lore and can jump into it right away, but I really did enjoy this book. I am going to do a full spoiler-free review of this, so if you guys, you know, want to see my thoughts without discussing like ships or the specificities of like the world building or like what everything means, and you just wanted a baseline, can I read this? I'll have that out too, but yeah, I'll talk about this more tomorrow afternoon and decide on my rating. I don't really know. I'm still very torn. I want to give it a 4.5 because I think the pacing is definitely kind of the biggest turnoff for me, because it felt very, which isn't bad. I like me a good high fantasy, but I think my expectations going into it were like leaning towards Shadowhunters, where I would be able to understand the process and the world a little bit more, and I didn't. But I also want to give it a 5 because I feel like it was just so lush and so well-rounded, and then when the characters came to life, they came to life. But I will discuss that tomorrow and wrap up the vlog then, because I really don't know what I want to rate this book. I don't. It's just very confuddling to me, so I'll be back with my rating once I've slept on it and done more thinking. It is now Tuesday. It's been officially a week since I started this book. But I thought I'd wrap up the vlog, give you guys my rating, and wrap up the trick-or-treat-a-thon of it all and how many books I actually finished this week. But I'm still really torn, so this might change come my review once I like write everything out and like read other reviews and either feel validated or invalidated. Right now it's sitting, I want to say like a 4.75. I'll probably set it to a 5 in Goodreads just because it's so high and so up there and so close to being a 5. But right now a 4.75. I'll be specific, I know. I don't know, it's just like, I talked about it last night. I understand why the pacing was weird and why there was like a weird distance between the characters and kind of rationalize it that way, but it just feels like it's missing something. I can't pinpoint what it's missing, but there's something missing that I can't like wrap my finger around and really understand what it is that's missing. So right now it's sitting at a 4.75. It could change. I could be writing my review for this over the weekend and reading other people's reviews and realizing that I just was overthinking it, which is a possibility. So I will update you guys in my spoiler-free of my my updated review, but right now 4.75. Now, to wrap up the trick-or-treat-a-thon portion of this vlog, I have read a total of 2 books this week. I read Swordcatcher, which fulfills the prompt for reading a book at night, which is SpongeBob SquarePants, and then The Simpsons one, which is to read a scary short story, and I read the scary short stories to read in the dark. Got those done. and over with. I don't know. Something's missing. I don't know what it is. I think I need to have more of my friends read it, and then maybe I'll like love it more, or I'll feel like more things are missing when they read it. So we'll go from there. But yes, that is it. But that is it for this vlog, you guys. Thank you so much for going through this vlog with me. I think this has been a rough vlog, just because I've been struggling adjusting the lighting here again, because my enemy is my lighting. It's even worse. If you guys like this video and want me to do like more themed reading vlogs, I do them every now and again, but I'm thinking about low-key cutting back on them just because it is a lot of like effort and work, and while I do love them, I think I need to do less of them. But let me know in the comments down below. I always try to do, like, if I'm really in love with an author, I'll typically do like a spoiler-filled vlog and then a spoiler-free review, depending on whether or not I feel like the vlog encapsulated all my thoughts, or if it needs a spoiler-free review or not. You know, depends on my mood. But if you guys want to see more of that, let me know in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you guys in my next video, which I don't know what that is, for Trick or Treat-a-thon, or my next vlog. Depends on what you guys watch. But until then, stay safe. Bye.